I'm finishing up this job of connecting this zinc that I have hanging on a wire over the side of my boat to protect my prop shaft, my prop, and my rudder post. So the last couple of videos that I did was getting this set up so it would protect my rudder post, and I achieved that, so that worked out good. But I needed to connect it to my transmission also, because my transmission is connected to my prop shaft and my prop. So if I could run a wire to the transmission and attach it to the transmission, I can't attach it to the prop shaft because the prop shaft spins, so that ain't gonna work. But I did continuity tests with my multimeter, and sure enough, my prop shaft and my transmission are mechanically connected, so electrical current will flow through them. So I just now ran a wire that went from my rudder post to my transmission. So now everything's connected. So now I got to test it just to make sure. So next thing I'm going to do is this. Oh man, now that is one slimy fish. Actually, it's not a fish, it's the zinc that I have hanging over the side here. And it's on a stainless steel cable that's connected to my prop shaft, my prop, and my rudder post. Now I'm just going to clean this guck off of here. Ugh. Hopefully it'll clean off pretty easy without getting me too slimed up. I used to be a river guide in Oregon, whitewater river guide, and the locals referred to us as river slime. This kind of reminds me of river slime. So yeah, I was river slime one time in my life. This is the zinc. What I really need is a brush. Kind of smells fishy, being in salt water, I guess, but it's just a big chunk of zinc. That's all it is. And I don't want to make too big a mess. Plus I need to clean it up so I can get a electrical connection here to another wire I'm using for testing. So let's see if I can do this without making too big of a mess. And now I'm going to set this up on my deck in the cockpit, and then I'm going to set a wire on it. This thing's heavy, so I don't have to really attach a wire to it. I just need to set this on top of a wire that's been stripped, and then I can do a continuity test and see and make sure that they're connected. So I'm just going to throw this up on the deck. A little change of plan here. So I was going to set this fish, it's heavy, on this piece of stripped wire, and then go down and test it down here. But in order to do that, I'll pretty much have to stand on my head, and I really don't care to do that. So what I did was I took the other end of this speaker wire. That's what I'm using just for testing. I like speaker wire because it's easy to unroll and roll back up. And so I just taped it, the other end of this. I have a long stripped piece, and I taped it to the prop shaft. So what I'm going to do now is turn on my multimeter, my trusty Fluke multimeter, and do a continuity test. Okay, so, and I've went over this before in previous videos. I don't know if you can see that, but whenever you do a continuity test, you always want to test your meter and your cables first to make sure they're okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch the two probes together. You should hear a beep, and you should see the display change. So let's see what happens. And there it is. And there you go. So I know this is working. So now I'm going to take, and it doesn't matter what color, red or black, it doesn't matter when you do continuity tests. So So it doesn't matter which end touches what, as long as they touch what you want them to touch. So I got this speaker wire now. It's attached to my prop shaft, and I'm going to hold these together, and I'm going to touch the little fishy here, and hopefully I'll get a beep and you'll see the meter change. And there it goes. I don't know if you can see that. We got continuity, which means this little fishy here is electrically now connected through a cable to my prop shaft, my prop, and my rudder post. So when I throw this back in the water, this will help prevent the prop shaft, prop, and rudder post from corrosion. It's galvanic corrosion, also called electrolysis, because when you have dissimilar metals in salt water, it creates a battery, basically. And the closer the metals are to each other without touching, they're just in the salt water, two different types of metals, you get current flowing from one metal to the other. So there's a list of nobility. You can look it up online, and it tells you the more noble metals down to the least noble metals. The bigger the difference, the more current and corrosion you get. So this is a least noble metal, and the prop shaft and rudder post is a more noble metal. So what this is going to do is this, instead of my prop shaft corroding and decaying and my prop and my rudder post, this will decay instead. So it's called a sacrificial zinc. I have one on the prop shaft now already, and I have other ones attached to the rudder post, but this is just extra protection. The ones that I have underwater on the prop shaft right now, I dove in, I have dive equipment, and I changed them a few years ago. They're going to need to be changed again, but I'm going to need to haul this boat out pretty soon and clean and paint the bottom. Hopefully this will tide me over till then. So I don't know when I'm going to haul out. I'm maybe later this year or next year, probably for sure, and get that done. And but now I know I've got extra protection here, so I'll be able to sleep well at night. Not have to worry about it, because last thing you want to have to do is replace your prop shaft and your prop and your rudder post. My other boat I installed a Lehman 60 horsepower diesel engine in it when I bought the boat in Santa Cruz, and the guy gave up on it. He was putting in a different engine, and he's putting it in a different location within the boat, and he bought a used Lehman 60 horsepower diesel engine, 500 pounds it weighed, and he couldn't figure out how to hook it up to the boat, bolt it down to the boat, the engine. So I come along and bought it and thought I could do it, and actually I was able to do it. It was a lot of work, but a couple weeks after I bought the boat, he told me he put the prop shaft in himself. He had to drill a hole through the whole keel, and the prop shaft was 9 feet long, solid bronze prop shaft, and it was really heavy. And he had it in the boat, all installed, and he was putting the engine in the boat, and he said he dropped the engine on the prop shaft. He goes, "Oh, but it didn't hurt it." Well, when I hooked the engine up, finally got the transmission, everything hooked up, and the coupler that couples the prop shaft to the transmission, that's how you have to adjust the alignment. The engine has to be aligned to the prop shaft within 1/1000th of an inch. And I couldn't believe it when I did this project. Everything worked great, which is extremely rare for me. Usually I have to do things over and over and over several times before I get it right. The first try, everything was just perfect. I mean, perfect. I couldn't believe it. And so then the moment of truth was when I got ready to do the alignment, and I put the coupler on the prop shaft and it butted up against the transmission. It was perfectly within 1/1000th of an inch. And this, I was just guesstimating all this. I couldn't believe it. 1/1000th of an inch. I nailed it without even using a feeler gauge. I mean, boom, it was there. Then I thought, okay, moment of truth. We'll see if this prop shaft is bent. He said he dropped the engine on it. He said it didn't hurt it. Well, I really doubt that it didn't hurt it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be bent So I turned the prop shaft by hand 180 degrees, and it went out of alignment by 1/8 of an inch. And when you're shooting for 1/1000th of an inch, 1/8 of an inch is a mile. So I had to pull the prop shaft out of the boat. I didn't want to haul the boat out of the water. So my neighbor was a diver. He said, yeah, we can do this. And so what happened was he went down and got a wooden dowel. And I've told this story in some of my previous videos. And he told me to go ahead. He was going to pull the prop shaft and the prop all connected from in the water outside of the boat. So he was in the water with his scuba gear, and he was going to pull my prop shaft out and into, from the water side. And he said, when I do this, water's going to come gushing in your boat. So you need to put a wooden dowel in place of the prop shaft and then tighten the stuffing box down. That'll keep the water from leaking in while the prop shaft is removed from the boat, which I did. And like an idiot, I put that wooden dowel in like 2 feet. Only needed to put it in a couple inches. And what happened there was I took the prop shaft over to the prop shop in Antioch, and the guy at the prop shop said, I don't know if I can straighten this. Thing's pretty bent. And he goes, I'll put it on the lathe and see what I can do. He put it on the lathe. He called me back. He goes, I got it within 1/1000th of an inch. I go, that's all I need. So when I came back to put the prop shaft in, that wooden dowel had swelled up from the salt water in the stern tube. And I couldn't get it out. I couldn't pull it out. It was so swelled up. So I worked on a research farm over in the Central Valley, and the boat was in Santa Cruz. And so I made this special pulling tool because I didn't want to pull the stuffing box apart because it's hooked to a rubber hose. And it was so far underneath the engine, it was almost impossible to reach. I had to lay on my stomach and just reach way under the engine. I could barely reach it. And if I pull that tube loose, that hose off the stern tube, my boat would have sunk for sure. There's no way I could have got it back together and tightened it down. So there was a way to get to it, but it was very difficult on the side of the engine. And so I made this special puller, and I drilled a hole through the wooden dowel, and I had to back it out. And it literally took me a whole month of weekends going over on the weekends to get that wooden dowel out of there. Then once I got the wooden dowel out, I decided I was not going to use the diver to put the prop shaft in from the water side. I knew he wouldn't be able to wiggle it around and get it to go into the stuffing box. So I thought, well, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go from inside the boat. So I pulled the wooden dowel out. Water started gushing in the boat. I picked up the prop shaft inside the boat, put it into the stuffing box. And then I had to once I got it down to where the cutlass bearing is, that's the very back of the stern tube where the prop shaft comes out into the water. And there's what's called the cutlass bearing. And it's basically just a rubber tube with slots cut in it. And I had to wiggle the prop shaft around to get it to go into the cutlass bearing. But I was able to do it, and I got it. And then I hired the diver to put the prop back on. So that all worked out. But you don't, you really, one of the most important things if you own a boat that's in salt water is protecting your prop shaft, your prop, and your rudder post, and the pintle and gudgeon, which is the hinge that's on the bottom of the rudder. If you have what's called a barn door rudder, which this boat has. So it's a rudder post comes down, and then there's an aperture where the rudder's cut out and the back of this keel is cut out, creates an opening for the prop. But on the very bottom of the rudder, it's connected to a hinge. So that's called the pintle and gudgeon. That's that hinge. And those also need to be protected. So I'm thinking that the rudder post goes all the way down to the pintle and gudgeon. So I'm hoping this will also protect the pintle and gudgeon. So there are zincs that attach in the water on those two underwater. But I don't know what kind of shape they're in. I dove in about a year ago with my dive equipment and inspected everything. It looked pretty good. So at any rate, this is just extra protection. And so it's all connected now, and I used a nice thick green color wire to hook to my transmission, ran it back to the rudder post, and this is connected to the rudder post. So now they're all connected together. So this is just added protection, so it feels good. I'm gonna sleep at night now. So if you found this video to be helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe. Okay, little fishy, it's time for you to go back in the water and do your thing.